All right. Good morning. Welcome to the Talkin' Tomahawk podcast. Don't forget to check us out at talkintomahawk.com. You can download us on Apple, on Spotify. I think pretty much anywhere you can find podcasts, you can find us. YouTube. Don't forget Rumble, our friends over at Rumble. So today we're coming to you in response to the big news last night. Tyler Glasnow has been traded to the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the betting odds for the Dodgers has continued to improve. They're now at a plus 460 to win the World Series, separating themselves farther from the Braves. We're going to get into why. That's a bunch of crap, man. That is just a bunch of crap. So we'll get into the impact of not getting Tyler Glasnow for Atlanta, and that's probably about what we're going to cover today. So first of all, let's get into the trade itself. So here's the deal. The Dodgers and the Rays made an agreement on a trade that would send the right-hander Tyler Glasnow and outfielder Manuel Margot plus $4 million to the Dodgers. Right-hander Ryan Pepio and outfielder Johnny DeLuca are now going to Tampa. And Ryan Pepio is going to win the Cy Young, and Johnny DeLuca is going to be enshrined in the Hall of Fame someday if Tampa is trading Tyler Glasnow for him. Never forget the Chris Archer trade that got Tyler Glasnow. Remember that the Rays got Tyler Glasnow, Austin Meadows, and then a player to be named later who ended up being Shane Baz. So I think it's Baz. Anyway, one heck of a deal for Chris Archer, who flamed out, and I think he's actually, isn't he an executive for the Dodgers now? So that's interesting. So Glasnow and Archer are united from the famous or infamous, depending on your perspective, Chris Archer trade. So anyway, the deal is also reportedly going to involve an extension with the Dodgers. So that kind of blows up the idea that the Braves would have been able to trade for Glasnow, I guess, because I don't think the Braves are in a position or interested in signing him to an extension. I think what made Glasnow such a tantalizing option for Atlanta is the risk, the safety involved in the risk. 1 year, 25 million. Yeah, it's a lot of money, but this guy's been very injury prone over his career. When he's healthy, he's one of the best pitchers in the game. We've said it before, but if you're making a short list of guys who you think is going to win, that could win the Cy Young before any given season, a healthy Tyler Glasnow is on that list. That being said, been hurt a lot, and 1 year, 25 million is if that reduced the amount of prospects we had to send compared to a guy like Dylan Cease, who's under team control for 2 years and a much lower salary. 1 year, 25 million, safe risk if he gets hurt. We did it with Cole Hamels. It didn't destroy the franchise. It didn't hamstring us in any way. It was 1 year. He got hurt. Okay, moving on. So it was a low risk. It seemed like a really great option to me. Bring in the highest, you got the most talent in Tyler Glasnow at really a lower risk if you can part with $25 million and whatever the prospects, or whatever pieces they wanted in the deal. So Dodgers have an extension on the table, so they're going all in on him. Okay, cool. Dodgers got Tyler Glasnow. All right. So before we jump into where does that leave the Braves, let's just take a look at how we all stand right now. So the Dodgers are now at plus 460 odds. Yeah, so they're at plus 460. So again, if you're not familiar with the betting, that means if you bet $100 on the Dodgers to win the World Series, you'd win 460. The Braves are at plus 650. So for every 100 you bet on the Braves to win the World Series, you would make 650 in return. Not on top of, but 650 total. So anyway, it doesn't really matter for me because I moved to Florida and I'm not allowed to use the DraftKings online gambling down here, as far as I know. So the point is, I don't think that this really makes the Dodgers that big of a favorite. And we'll just start with the rotation. Both the Braves and the Dodgers rotations last year struggled. with injuries. Julio Urias disappeared for other reasons, and who knows if we'll see him again. Um, Tony Gonsolin had Tommy John, and Atlanta, as we know, Max Fried was in and out. Kyle Wright barely got to pitch for us. It just, at the beginning of the season, the Braves were talking about a six-man rotation. Seriously, it probably can't even remember that now, but they were considering a six-man rotation to start the year, and that rotation limped into the playoffs, to the postseason. But it feels weird to call the MLB postseason playoffs, but what we were limping in, and Bryce Elder, we depended on him last year as a number three starter, essentially, with Fried limited, and he fell off a cliff in the second half and ended up being one of the worst pitchers in the second half of the season. So the Braves ended up with the 17th best ERA for starting pitchers on the year. The Dodgers were 20th, so they were even worse. I highlighted the wrong team. There you go. The Dodgers were 20th. So Dodgers needed to make a move like this. When you look at on paper, you look at what the Braves have coming into the season, and you've got a healthy Max Fried, got a healthy Spencer Strider. There's two Cy Young candidates right there. Charlie Morton, if Father Time hasn't caught up to that guy yet, then you're not going to get a better number three starter than Charlie Morton at this point. So the Dodgers were looking at Walker Buehler and then Bobby Miller. Your number three, Ryan Yarbrough, they had to make a move. They really did. I don't know if Kershaw's going to be healthy to start the season or not, or if he's going to be a mid-season addition. It doesn't feel like he would go anywhere but the Dodgers, but as of now, he's not on that roster or in that rotation. They could be baking that into the odds. That could be baked in, but both teams could stand to improve the back end of the rotations. Yarbrough, and we know what Yarbrough is at this point, and he'll eat some innings. And I mean, honestly, it's not bad, but the ceiling, he is what he is. At least, the Braves have a lot of upside guys there that they can plug in. AJ Smith-Shawver, Bryce Elder to start the season at the back end of the rotation that is not the worst thing in the world. We'll get into that in a second too. But on paper, these rotations, I think, are pretty similar at this point. I just don't think you can say one's clearly better than the other. And maybe it's my bias, but I'll just give the edge to the Braves. I can do that. I just did it. So the bullpens are both great, but let's go look at the lineups now. Why would the Dodgers be continuing to move the odds continue to move in their favor over the Braves after these moves? Because they moved to plus 550, if you recall, after the Ohtani signing. This is for next season. All right, Ohtani's not pitching next season. That leaves the Dodgers with this lineup. You can see it on the screen. This has the 2024 streamer projections. So it's just, these are projections, but this kind of gives you an idea of who the players are, generally speaking. Ohtani is basically what the Dodgers did by signing Ohtani. Yeah, long term, they hope he can come back and pitch the way he used to, but he's replacing JD Martinez at DH. He's a two-time MVP, yes, but man, his pitching had a lot to do with winning those MVPs. Next season, he's strictly a hitter. He's a DH, as far as we know. Don't think he'll be out in the outfield. And these projections, these are good. You'd be happy with this. You can't be upset, no matter how much you pay a player. You can't be happy if he goes out and hits 270, or you can't be upset, sorry, if he goes out and hits 272 with 37 homers, 101 ribbies. Oh, and by the way, he stole 20 bases. That'd be nice. A 918 OPS. Well, why did, that's actually just kind of replacing, those projections are replacing what JD Martinez did for the Dodgers last year. Take a look at Martinez's stats. In just the 432 at-bats last year, he hit 33 homers, 271 average, 103 ribbies, and an 893 OPS. So they hope Ohtani's going to come back and pitch like the stud that he was. But next year, that's not happening. And essentially, they replaced JD Martinez. And they were a good team. The Dodgers were a good team last year. There's no doubt. But you still have, if you're comparing this to the Braves, you still have a lot of holes on the back end of this lineup compared to the Braves. You know, you got Muncy and Outman, Taylor, Hayward, and Lux projected to all finish well under 800 OPS. You've only got one guy projected to have over a 900 OPS in Shohei Ohtani. Take a look at the Braves. Keep in mind, this offense last year was truly one of the greatest offenses in the history of baseball. You know, there were all kinds of records they broke. There were all kinds of stats you could point out. The one that stuck out to me was the WRC plus, the weighted runs created, compared to the plus means it's kind of it 100 would be like league average, and so it allows you to get a perspective on how productive a player or a team was compare in a certain statistic compared to their peers for that year, which is so important. You know, there's always variables every year that the balls can change, and there's a lot of different factors. So it's a really great way to look at how much better were the Braves in 2023 than the average team, than the rest of the league. And so that's a cool stat to look at. And if you look at it in terms of WRC plus, the Braves were the greatest team compared to their peers in the history of baseball, tied with only then I should have looked this up, but I think it's the 1927 Yankees. It was a Babe Ruth Yankee team. There's two teams tied for the most WRC plus in a season, for the highest WRC plus, and it's the Atlanta Braves from last season are right there. That's how good that team was. That's how incredible. Like, you got to experience something special. And guess what? All those dudes are coming back except for Eddie Rosario, and he's been replaced with Jared Kelnick, and maybe a Jared Kelnick slash Vaughn Grissom. And you're looking at eight guys that are probably 800, maybe over 800 plus, OPS. Acuna 981. That projection is such a high projection, but and Matt Olson too. But those are conservative projections for the numbers that these guys put up last year. Austin Riley, is the guy is he's to the point where he's going to be in the MVP conversation every year, most likely. Albies is turn. You look at what he's done already. This guy's on his way to being considered one of the greatest power hitting second basemen of all time. And it gets kind of lost in the shuffle sometimes with all the other impact bats in the lineup, and the towering home runs and the records being broken. But Ozzy Albies he's on pace to go down as one of the great power hitting second basemen of all time. Um, and to be able to get lost like that, it just goes to show how unbelievable this lineup is. So swapping out Rosario for Kelnick, a huge upside there. Even with Vaughn Grissom is a nice plan B if Kelnick struggles. We got him for 5 years. If there are kinks that need to be worked out, if there's ups and there's big downs, Grissom's 921 OPS in AAA, a great plan B out there. I don't think there's definitely no downgrade from what Rosario brought to the table offensively. And then the Braves have solidified shortstop. David Fletcher is by no means a better. Like, we're not like excited that this guy is definitely better than Arcia. Arcia is trending the right direction the last few years. He's been a better hitter the last couple of years than he's been about league average for the first time in his career. And in the instance that Arcia does fall back to, remember when he came to Atlanta, his 6 years in Milwaukee, he had a 72 OPS plus. That's really bad. His career OPS is lower than David Fletcher's. So if he falls back to earth, or struggles the way he did in the last couple months of the season, at least Atlanta has a sort of a lateral movement there with David Fletcher to try and give him some time off, or at least fill the hole until Arcia can get back in a groove or whatever it is. That it's solid depth, and it solidifies that last spot in the lineup. But this lineup is clearly better. than what the Dodgers are bringing. If there's anything you learn from Ohtani's time with the Angels and Mike Trout, is that one guy, two guys is not enough. That is not enough to win. One great guy in the lineup, that doesn't. You still got you. Everybody else still has to produce. So um, the Braves have more production up and down the lineup than the Dodgers do. They still do, and I just don't think that this Tyler Glasnow move gives them any sort of advantage on paper over the Braves. I still think if you're looking at it on paper, you got to give the advantage to the Braves. Uh, we'll see what the next moves are. Um, maybe the Dodgers aren't done, and that certainly would be an issue. One more huge starting pitching move, and maybe you give that advantage to the Dodgers. But I just don't see it yet. Not the way it looks right now. Um, Now, lastly, I want to get into, do the Braves still need to make a starting pitching addition? Maybe. I think we'd all like it. You can never have enough starting pitching. But if they don't, everything is going to be okay. I'm here to tell you that today. Telling you, everything will be fine. Uh, we hope for health from those top three guys. You got two guys that are going to contend for the Cy Young if they're on their game. But that back end of the rotation, Bryce Elder gets it. He's going to get a shot. He was too good the first, full season roughly of his major league career, and he's too young to just write him off. Last season was the most innings he's ever pitched in a season. Fatigue sets in, mechanics fall apart. There's no reason to assume he's toast. AJ Smith-Shawver, is the real life Ricky the Wild Thing Vaughn. We wrote about that in our last year when he made his debut. But this kid started pitching before his senior year in high school and got drafted out of high school. Showed up at rookie ball basically with 1 year in high school pitching as experience. And if you go look at his stats, I'm going to pull them up for you because it was like he's either going to strike you. He just shows up. These kids, he shows up. He's like, "Yeah, guys, I've been pitching since a few months ago. Maybe 1 year in high school." And no one can. He's either striking people out or walking them. So let's see. So take a look at the. Let's take a look at the rookie ball stats when AJ Smith-Shawver first shows up. We'll look at that. We're the Talking Tomahawks, the most recent news article on him. Hey, TalkingTomahawk.com. Okay, so at 18 years old in 2021, he shows up in rookie ball, has an 8.64 ERA. That's fine. 4 starts. He makes 4 starts, and he strikes out 16. Let's look. 8 innings pitched, 8.1. He strikes out 16 dudes and walks 10. Forget the other stuff. He's just getting broken in. So he was like Ricky the Wild Thing Vaughn. This is great stuff. 103 strikeouts in 2022 at 19 years old in Single A. 103 strikeouts, 39 walks. That walks per 9 is cut in half, baby. He went from 10.8 to 5.1. Numbers can be fun when you're dealing with small sample size, but what he did last year was incredible, and it just shows the type of talent that the Lord blessed him with in that arm. And considering all this, it makes me very nervous to think that he would be one of the pieces the Braves need to send away to get a guy like Dylan Cease. If the Braves traded for Dylan Cease, because he's going to cost you an AJ Smith-Shawver. He's got 2 years of team control at a low price. He's 2 years of team. It's $8.8 million. I think he's projected to make this year. And keep in mind, he's had one really good season. He's led the league in walks twice. Like, there's some risk to Dylan Cease. He is no lock to be a Cy Young candidate. And if we lose AJ Smith-Shawver, what's going to happen. Both he and Soroka, Shawver breaks out. Soroka makes the All-Star team in his return, and Dylan Cease has a 4.5 ERA. That hurt just saying it. I didn't mean to put that out in the universe. I'm sorry. Anyway, last year, what he did was move through 4 levels of professional baseball at 20 after basically starting pitching at 17 and made it all the way to the major leagues. held his own in the majors with a 4.26 ERA over just 25 innings, and was a candidate to start in that game three. If you recall, game three of the NLDS, legitimately, the decision was like last second. We waited a while to find out, was it going to be Bryce Elder or was it going to be AJ Smith-Shawver? It's the guy started the season in single A. Incredible journey last year to move through it. That's one of the things, we watched Bull Durham. Hold on, I'm going to get some Christmas music here. It's coming. I'll try to talk until then. We watched Bull Durham recently, and my son pointed out that the idea that Nuke Lelouch would have been pulled straight up from single A to the majors was, you know seemed a little unrealistic. And yeah, he did work his way through all the levels, but I mean, this is pretty close to that last year. What he did. So I'm excited about what sort of progress he's going to make this year at 21 years old, after the incredible progress he's made in a short amount of time as a pitcher. Um, so, needless to say, I'm excited. I am excited about what the Braves are potentially bringing at the back end of their rotation this season, even if they don't make a move. But we would love for them to go out and get a Jordan Montgomery. We thought maybe there's going to be some better deals on the free agent market. This might be something where they need to wait until closer to spring training, and they have a little bit of the leverage, because some of these deals they're just crazy. They always are. Severino's deal, there was an article on House that Hank built, essentially mocking the Mets for flushing money down the toilet. But then Seth Lugo gets 3 years and 45 million. That's a lot of money for a guy who just got converted back to a starting pitcher last year. What was the other one? Some of these deals just kind of just surprise me, and it makes me think that we're gonna have to wait if we want to find a good. We need to find a star, a value where the market is thinned out for those pitchers. I'm assuming, because I don't know what the budget really is for the Braves, and neither do you. Um, Potentially, if they're going to go out and if they're looking at the bottom of the mid level of those free agent pitchers that are still out there, like a Hyunjin Ryu, who I think would be a great addition. But if they're asking 15 million, there's no discount really. Bump that up, man. 20 million. Let's go after 25 million, and go after a frontline guy like Jordan Montgomery. If not, if this is what we're rolling with, I mean, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, it isn't the worst thing in the world. And Noah's coming back this season. Don't forget about him. I think Streamer had him projected for Zips, or one of the projections I saw had him at a 111 innings pitched. And if he can contribute quality innings this season, there are a lot of names and a lot of options with experience, and I'm sure Alex Anthopoulos will find a way to plug in quality innings. Remember, don't forget, Ronaldo Lopez is a guy that had been a starting pitcher, a pretty average starting pitcher in his career. They converted him to a reliever, and he became a strikeout pitcher and had a ZRA is about 3 as a reliever. And the Braves obviously like something and think that they can harness what he's done as a reliever and translate that into a starting role, because that's the report, is they're stretching him out. So, that's one more quality option. And if those top three stay healthy, I still like the Braves compared to the Dodgers. Now, we can talk again if they go out and if the Dodgers sign Blake Snell. I mean, that could be a problem, but the Braves are in really good shape no matter what happens. We hope they make a big move, but don't forget, they are in good shape right now. This is it's an exciting rotation. The top three guys are exciting, and the potential for some of those young guys it's still exciting. So don't let the Glasnow signing get you down. And the fact that they're signing him to extension, come on, man, they're going to be this. They have a lot of money tied up for a lot of years already, and a lot of injuries coming over between Otani's arm and Glasnow's arm. That's going to be a lot of money for a lot of damage done to those arms already. All right. Well, that's what I got. We'll get into the new coaches another time. I got to get off here. and get moving with my day. But let me know in the comments whether you're on Rumble or YouTube or on Apple or Spotify or iHeartRadio or Facebook or whatever. Share your thoughts. Go to talkingtomahawk.com and find one of the articles and share your comments there. Let us know. I want to know what you think. This rotation, the way it stands now, can we win the World Series with the rotation as it is now, or do the Braves have to make another big move? A big move. What do we need to do? So, I'd love to hear your thoughts and observations on that. So don't hesitate to share those. Let's get the conversation going. That's the whole point of doing this. Is the whole reason we do this podcast and put out those articles is because I feel like I need more Braves in my life. So please share your thoughts and opinions below. I'm going to go now. I have work to do. Everybody have a wonderful day and don't freak out. We're still really good. All right. Thanks for listening.